A very good evening to our audience on Globespan 24/7 as we bring you these Monday night programs from New York and from Guyana. We want to thank Nohar Singh for making this platform available, and of course, Devin Bisu, our technical specialist. We want to thank our sponsors for continuing to be a part of our program, and to you, of course, our audience, for joining us in this lively broadcast. Tonight, we have two, again, no stranger to us. We had them before, and we are very honored that they have agreed to return to the program tonight to discuss some new development within Region 4 and Region 10. Before we get into that, we want to extend to all our Americans. Today, we celebrate Juneteenth, which is the 19th day of June, when the last slave was freed from Texas after the abolition of slavery. So from this year, it is now a national holiday here in the United States. So we want to extend our best wishes to all African Americans and to all Americans as we celebrate this day of freedom from slavery. We also want to talk about the fire we had on Liberty Avenue recently at 125th Street and Liberty, where 3 Guyanese suffered in that fire. There is a GoFundMe page. So if you're inclined to support the family, and there are a lot of people who already contributed to that fire, we ask you to go to GoFundMe and chip in whatever you want to chip in. We want to offer our condolences to the family of the bereaved, of the deceased, and we pray God that they have a resting place wherever they are. Today we, again, as I said, we want to welcome the Mayor of Georgetown, Mayor Ubraj, and of course the Mayor of Linden, Mayor Waneka. To you both, your worship, welcome to the program tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles Sugrim and Dr. Rose, for having me on this program this evening.
Yes, thank you so much. It's always a privilege to be here, and hopefully you're able to answer all those questions that you're going to put towards us.
Okay. Mayor, your worship, the last time we met, there were so many challenges in the city council. Has anything changed? We can start with the Mayor of Georgetown. Mayor, your mute is on.
The last time we spoke was way back a couple months, I think. Things have been getting worse in the level of the city, and not only the council, but the city holistically, where subvention or money should be coming from central government to the municipality of Georgetown, and we're not getting those kinds of support. And that is very critical for the Mayor City Council, which the Office of the President and ministries, the entire business of government, the hub for the entire nation, Georgetown should be well taken care of. And again, I'm willing to work with any government in power for the betterment of our citizens and this city and Guyana at large.
But your worship, I mean, the last time we spoke, we did say that the city council have the authority to raise enough funds to take care of its expenses. So why do we still have to depend on the subvention of government when the city council has the authority to raise its revenue?
The city council only run on rates and taxes, and I clearly outlined that the last interview which we had, where there is an act clearly stated. I'm trying here, the valuation, I have everything here, the Valuation for Rating Purpose Act, Chapter 2804, and the act outlined very clearly in section 5 that a valuation list in respect of any such area shall be prepared by the Chief Valuation Officer and shall come into force on the 1st of January in every 5th year. The last one was done in 1996. Now, that is like 20 years ago. Now, you cannot expect that the city run on a 1996 valuation that where we collect taxes. You will always have some deficit somewhere there. And that's the reason why I continue to call on government, let us have a revaluation within the boundaries of the city of Georgetown. 2 billion and something to run the city council is not enough. And now, why government subvention is very important. It's not me, the mayor is saying the government has to give us subvention. There's a law. The law stated very clear that, and in New York, I guess that the federal government give subvention to the city. Now there's a law, the Laws of Guyana Fiscal and Transfer Act, Chapter 7307, Section 7, Treatment of Georgetown City Council. And if you permit me, as a city, capital city, Georgetown City Council will be treated similarly in the terms of set of conditions required to be fulfilled by each local authority, but differently and separately in terms of the actual financial allocation as follows. It will receive 50% of its allocation automatically based on the available sum allocated by Parliament. B. Georgetown City Council formula for the balance of its allocation will be based on a undefined set of criteria follows. A. Target of 60% minimum rate of collection of revenue. B. Stipulated allocation of 30% of population size. And C. 10% of geographic location. The formula is right in this act.
Yeah, okay.
Here. And
right.
if you to calculate that sum, it will be closely to 600 million subvention to the mayor city council per year.
Okay, and that point is well taken, but I believe what I hope you're not conflating the two. There is operating expense and there's capital expense. I think the government has a duty and responsibility to chip in with capital works, but the operating expense should be enough to satisfy from the revenue from rates and taxes. And the last time we met, your worship, we spoke of if the chief valuation officer is not doing his or her work, has the council taken them to court? Recently, we have seen the CCJ forcing the GGMC to issue a license to Diamond Quarry because they're dragging their foot. They went to court, and the court now directed GGMCC to do what they have to do. Why don't the mayors of Guyana come together and file a lawsuit against the valuation officer, whoever that person is, forcing them to do the valuation that they're required to do by law?
I want to agree with you to some extent, Mr. Sugrim. But why we have to take government to court when we can sit and negotiate? And if we working for the Guyanese people, we're not working for ourselves. And if the laws of the country stated that the legislators in Parliament put forward this bill and then it become a law, they debated it. Why should we take government to court when we are local government and there's central government, which we have to work in cohesiveness so that we can able to work for the interests of the Guyanese people? I don't see, yes, we can go to court and let the court instruct the Minister of Finance to pass a resolution in Parliament so the chief valuation officer can do his duty. But this outlined it very clearly in the laws of our country. Why we spoke about so much on democracy. This is a part of democracy too. And we have to work in the interest of the Guyanese people. Let us reach, let us meet, let us negotiate. And that is what I did in March 2020 with His Excellency. I'm sorry, not 2020, 2021. When I met His Excellency, I outlined very clearly what the municipality of Georgetown is facing for not only this period of time, but many, many years now the municipality is facing. And by extension, let me make mention of this. I want to remind your good self and the viewers. In 1994, when the then President Dr. Cherry Jagan had imposed IMC headed by Professor Rose, and that IMC reported to Dr. Cherry Jagan that the rates and taxes cannot run the city council alone. We need other areas of revenue to run the city. It is there very clearly. And Professor Rose has implemented something called a 2% on compliance. When you issue compliance to go sell your properties. Today, that was taken to court by this government and they squash it. We're now working on a policy to charge a minimum fee, which that money used to come in, which the PVP then in 1994, IMC headed by Professor Rose had implemented these kind of policies.
Okay, we'll get into that. We have our worship, your worship, Mayor Arrindell. How is it the city of Linden?
Good evening again. Well, what can I say? We're balancing. We're doing the best we can. And I think we are getting what we want. So not much to worry about.
Is there a better relation with you with the government than is in Georgetown?
I would say maybe it is, because there's more conversation per se, but there's no change in terms of how they're managing. And I really want to agree with the mayor that there need to be an open door policy of conversation with local government organs. It will help us to better able to discuss what needs to happen and how we should manage. We're having almost the same issues, just that Linden has a smaller population, so that impact that Georgetown is feeling, we don't have that heavy impact. But we have the same issues, we have the same concerns, and require the same thing, that government needs to come and sit down at the table and have a discussion. It shouldn't take us taking them to court or anything. It's just a normal conversation that starts at the level. And I want to agree with you that all governments need to, all municipality needs to come on board, which means 10 of us. But you have to admit that we have not seen actively the PPP mayors stepping up to the plate to support. So that again will become another conflict if we intend to all stand together. So it's a work in progress, and we'd say open the doors and let us talk.
And your worship, I mean, and I'm glad you mentioned the PP mayor and by extension we have the PNC mayors. Should our mayors be affiliated with political parties, or they should be really independent of the people of the municipality for which they are the mayor? What are your views?
True. If you ask me, I'd say no. They should not be attached to a political party. I remembered when we were called in 2016, we were told, even though we were running on a slate, that once you take the position as councillors and as mayor, your post was to represent the people of your town and region. But it always becomes a little conflicting because you sat on a slate that took you where you were, and it may hinder your decision-making based on party politics. So for me, there's need for constitutional reform. That 28-1 is outdated. Even if as we need to have the reevaluations, we need to really think about the costs that are attached in there, those $20, but even the system itself. Mayors should run on a slate free of political affiliation, which means all councillors should, and let the people of your town elect you, and let the people of your town move you when they see fit.
Is that nirvana, or will it happen?
Pardon?
You think that will happen, or that's nirvana?
I think it's nirvana, and I have my reasons for that. Our politics in Guyana is still petty, and people like power. So it's very tough to ask Central to release them of those powers and put it into the hands of local government and give those mayors and councillors the power to do. It'll take a lot of work, maybe a lot of fighting and a lot of court, but we'll see.
Dr. Rose?
Okay, Mayor Narine, my first question to you. What's the population of Georgetown?
Mayor, your mute is on.
Yes, the population for this the city is approximately over 300,000 people living there within the boundary of city. Every day people um, come in the city, and especially no, beside
the population of the city of itself.
yes, it's about 300,000, including the Venezuelans, the Brazilians, and the Cubans. We have all these people now within the city of Georgetown.
You talk about Region 4. Well, I'm talking about the city of Georgetown of itself.
Oh, the city of Georgetown will be 120,000 approximately.
That's what I meant. Okay.
Yeah, 120,000.
What's the unemployment rate?
Pardon me?
Unemployment rate in the city of Georgetown.
Well, Dr. Rose, those questions
Okay, is it above the national average or below?
I will say below, because that is something the Bureau statistic, they will be able to outline very clearly. The Mayor City Council would not able to outline very clearly, but there is lots of unemployment within the city of Georgetown.
Okay. I want to come to something. Why I asked that? You have a system which is colonial, like what is happening in England, where the
Dr. I'm not hearing you clearly. It probably is my fault.
You're not hearing me clearly now? You hearing me clearly?
Yes. Now.
Okay. I'm saying the city of Georgetown still have the British system under its wings as we speak. You have, in London, you had this mayor and so forth, and you had their own police force, but they have abandoned that. I think it was in 2013. Why the city of Georgetown still have its own municipal force?
Well, that's a very good question, and I welcome it. When I took office in 2019, that was one of my main aim, to join the city police with the national police, which will be something very good within the city of Georgetown. We will get resources, and we will able to function more properly within the markets and so forth. Similarly, in Port of Spain had done that. The national police join with the city police and make one body, and we move forward with security system within the city of Georgetown. That was a proposal I done in 2019 to the then Minister of was then Public Security, and I'm still open out to move in that direction.
The Minister of Public Security in the last government did not act on it.
No, it didn't act on it, and it left there.
Your Worship, Mayor Arrindell, what's the population of Linden?
I'd have to say about 40,000. The projection in 2012 was about 25, so I'd say about 40,000 right now.
No, projection in 2012 was 25,000 voters.
Around there, yeah. This is through the Bureau statistics.
The last figures I saw for Linden is 58,000, but neither here nor there. Now, the question I want to ask you, what's the unemployment rate there too? Below the national average or above the national average?
I think it's below the national average, maybe below. I have about 40 to 50% unemployment.
And what do you think is the budget to run Linden? Adequate budget.
Say that again for me, please.
The adequate budget to run Linden.
Our adequate budget as of this year was 2.5. Don't let me give wrong information. I'll pull it up and I'll give you in 2 minutes. Don't let me give you wrong information. I'll pull my budget up.
Okay, once you're pulling it up, we can talk about that. Now, my next question to you is this. Does Linden have its own municipal force as well?
Yes, it does.
Why don't you abolish it and link it to the police force?
So I've never thought about that. This is new. That's one. Two, I really do believe we need to stay separate, but that might be my personal view based on all that continues to happen with the police as changes in government occurs. But what I do believe needs to happen is a strong collaboration in terms of what we can do and work together with. But it's something definitely I've never thought about. I'm definitely going to be talking to the Mayor Georgetown about what would have brought around that vision and then see what it works. But I have a personal not too positive towards that thought.
Okay. Mayors throughout the city, I think there are what, 10 of you, 9 of you today.
10.
Yeah, 10 municipalities. And none of you are all being paid to work full time. It's a full-time job, but you're not being paid to work full time. Why is it that the mayors can't come together and make a proposal to the government to end the old system of colonialism, pay us full time to work full time? Why that can't be done?
I think it was done in 2017 when Mr. Carwin Holland was there, but it was not approved. We did not venture in it again. We need more talks than just saying pay, because most of the people we have are still also working, and even the secondment to the office is something difficult to get. So I'm thinking, because those secondments are not being released, persons are being deemed as being paid to do a job. So to act as the maid, it doesn't work. So there needs to be a holistic conversation that once elected, you move straight to the office of, and therefore you are paid by government for that position.
I just like to stick a pin there, Dr. Rose.
Go ahead.
If with your permission, sir. Under the and we're dealing with facts tonight. The laws of Guyana again, chapter 2809, section 9, stated full-time officers. The following office holders shall be full-time officers to their respective local democratic organs. A, the mayor and deputy mayor of any city and town. B, chairman and vice chair of the RDCs. So we are full-time officers. Here's the law. But yet,
But you're not being paid full time.
we are not being paid full-time, sir.
So why can't the mayors come together and put the proposal to the government, let the government know that it's about time you all pay us together and get rid of this whole colonial system where mayors were being forced to work full time but are being given stipend? It's a British system. And if we want to modernize and talk about development, then we have to go and do everything that is right in that direction. So why the mayors can't come together and do this?
I want to agree with you, Dr. Rose, but there's an organization which the mayor of Linden is the president currently, which is the Guyana Association of Municipality, and that that body can able to make a proposal to central government so that mayors for all 10 municipalities and deputy mayors should receive something tangible when the month is up.
Okay. My next question to you, Mr. Mayor of Georgetown, Your Worship. The city of City Hall was deteriorating for the past 10 plus years. Did you ever ask APNU to restore it?
Yes, I did. I have nothing to lie about that. When I took office in 2019, I still have those letters. I did pen the then President, David Otto Granger, to have a conversation, and City Hall was one of the main item on the agenda. However, explanation was given to me by the team where I took office in 2019, where the no confidence motion took place in 2018, I think. So the budget, that was not a part and parcel of the national budget, and there was no budget beyond the no confidence motion. So I had to wait until this government or a new government occupy the office. However, at this moment, City Hall building in its current state, restoring, and I have in my possession about over 15 letters I wrote to His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali. Mohammed Irfan Ali had outlined it that we owe the government owe us taxes close to $1 billion Guyana dollars, and we may do a set-off to have City Hall building restored that the city really in need of. So City Hall building is under construction at this present moment.
Now, are there other heritage buildings in Georgetown?
Yes, there are many heritage sites within the city of Georgetown, which fall under the National Trust.
Are they being restored?
A few I will say, and for example, you have the cemetery opposite Border Market. I don't know if you can recall. There's a cemetery opposite Border.
Yeah.
That cemetery, I am being on a go with the National Trust, with the then government, and even this government, to have that cemetery to convert it to a parking lot. There's a proposal. We had talks on it on the way forward, because the last burial took place there is 1905, and that is a historic site as well. I have done research in places like Germany, even in England, where you had to grade down even national monuments and cemeteries to make spaces for development. So a proposal is with the mayor and city council, and we engage government and the National Trust to move forward in that process.
So you're telling me you want to destroy a cemetery for a parking lot?
No, it's not destroying the cemetery. I'm not destroying the cemetery. You can able to modernize the cemetery where you can erect a 5-story parking lot within the city of Georgetown.
And the cemetery will be at the bottom.
Yes, it will still be there.
Okay.
Right, but you modernize it. You'll have it modernized where you can able to go see your loved ones. If you look at it right now, the cemeteries fall under National Trust. It's a jungle.
Mayor of Georgetown, I'll come to you just now, Mr. Arrindell. Who is in charge of repairing the potholes in Georgetown, the city of Georgetown?
I can say very clearly, both government and the main city council. You have government roads and you have city roads. So both of us, we have to work in collaboration. We have to have roundtable discussion on the way we move forward.
Alberton, the streets in Alberton, who is responsible for those?
The mayor city council is responsible for those streets in Alberton.
Newton Kitty.
Mayor city council.
Kitty of itself.
Pardon me?
Kitty of itself.
Yeah, the main roads will be the central government. In the streets like Shell Road and Bar Street and so on will be city council roads.
So why are there so many potholes in the city and the city is not doing anything to repair them?
Well, like I said before, if you don't have money, where will you get it? The budget for city council. This year budget, it's a deficit of 70 million Guyana dollars. The budget for city council this year is $2,452,434,989. That's a deficit budget. To run the city of Georgetown, if you're talking from Agricola to Cummins Lodge, you're speaking of a budget of $5 billion to $6 billion Guyana dollars.
So you're telling us tonight that you don't have money to fix the potholes in Georgetown? That is controlled.
We don't have the enough funding or finance to fix those potholes at this point of time. Because I can tell you clearly, those same areas which have huge building still pay $6,000 a year taxes because of the valuation.
Mayor Arrindell, is the same thing for you at Linden? All those potholes?
Your mute is on, Mayor.
Sorry about that. Yes, I believe the same thing happened. The same thing is occurring, and it's throughout. Again, this is not just the municipality of Linden and Georgetown. This is throughout Guyana. Municipalities are not making what they need to sustain and to manage. And so, yes, there's a lot of, for the municipality of Linden, Majority of the areas within Linden are not owned by the council as yet we support. Majority of the areas in Linden don't have paved roads as yet, which is the responsibility of central government, which is not done, but we're still there putting resources to, but it's give the materials needed, lend our machines to help pave and keep it as smooth as possible. And so again, like every municipality, I mean, you've only had the two of us for a while. I'm waiting to see when you will invite all 10 of us to a conversation. And so we'll understand all municipalities are going through the same dire need of finances and their ability to manage the responsibilities that are under them. So yes, we do not have the collateral to do as much as we'd like to do. And for example, when I receive $80 million a year, every year we take out $1 million from that goes towards road patching. But as you know, to build one length of road effectively takes about 34 million. So really, when I take out $1 million, it's just to start accumulating the materials needed. And then I have to reach out to the RDC, public-private partnership, the businesses the persons that are coming into the town to build roads, and they're the ones who are on board assisting us to patch our roads in Linden. So there's a lot of public-private partnership for us to get what we need done.
Why we invited two of you? Because the two of you are the two largest municipalities in Ghana, Georgetown and Linden. New Amsterdam used to be, but Linden has overtaken New Amsterdam in population. Now, the question I want to ask both of you, have you ever met with the government and explained to them what you're telling our audience now?
I think the question is, has the government ever met with us? I've sent letters, receiving letters to the office of the president, vice president, my minister of local government, who I've seen maybe once. So it's not as we don't want to meet, they're just not meeting. At least on my end, I don't know what's happening with Georgetown, but they're just not meeting.
One last question for you before my colleague comes in, Mayor Narine. Do you have political advisors? Mayor Narine? Do you have political advisors?
Your mute is on, Mayor. Yeah. Your mute is still on, Mayor. It's on again.
Your mute is on.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes. Your question, Dr. Rose. Yes, same here. I met with His Excellency in March 2021, outlining these issues to the president, and he promised, look, we're going to work together. But the next day, His Excellency took those problems and went to a press conference. And the press conference is about label city council in a bad way. However, the president and me met at function. We had sidebar, and we promised, look, we're gonna work together for the interest of the people, but not in common. The next thing, I penned the vice president, Dr. Barjagdeo, to have a meeting with him since 2020. No response. The local government minister, I want to say, is a little dictator. He will call you and want things get done in his way. Well, I wouldn't stick for those kind of take direction. I will go with the council direction, the council decisions. But these are things that we face every day, where we as a policy maker, the policy body, we cannot hire, we cannot fire, we cannot discipline the staff of the municipality, which we are the head of. What kind of democracy is that? You have a local government commission who is there, who has more government commissioners to direct, to place town clerk, to impose town clerks, to impose, keep incompetent officers because the officers are working for them, not to deal with the real issues. So all of this here, viewers, we are facing at the level of the municipality. You can imagine you are working in an organization, cannot fired, cannot discipline, cannot hired. You have to work with the next entity to fired, hired, and discipline. And you, as the organization, the mayor city council, has to pay the NIS and pay these workers when the month comes, not the body who employing them and discipline them. These are the kind of infractions we laws have.
Charles, over to you.
Mayor of Georgetown, I checked the population of Georgetown that comes within the ambit of the municipality is about 200,000 Guyanese. Of that so you really have about 1/5, well, 2 out of 8, that's a quarter. You have about a quarter of Guyana's population within the municipality of Georgetown. Do you know what is the ethnic composition of that population? Your mute is on, Mayor.
I would not go into that at this point of time.
Do you know like what percentage are of African descent, what percent of Indian descent, mixed race? Do you know that percentage?
I don't have that information on me at this point of time, Mr. Sugrim. And
okay.
I don't want to give the public information which I am not sure of.
All right. Mayor of Linden, do you know what the ethnic composition? You have about 27,000 people within this city of Linden. You know what the ethnicity composition of Linden?
I know I can give an estimate, but not more of a guesstimate. I know we're almost about 80% Africans with about 15% East Indians, and then we have some mix in the mix. We've seen a significant increase in the East Indian community in Linden over the past couple of years.
Okay. And how many workers you have within the municipality, Mayor?
In Linden, we have about 130 on staff.
130 staff. And for Georgetown, Mayor, how much staff do you have in the municipality?
We have close to 600 staff.
Wow.
600.
And still short.
And you're saying, Mayor of Georgetown, that all recruitment is done not from the municipality, but from the commission? Every single appointment?
Yes, sir.
Even the cleaner?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I think what happens with the local government commission, if I may, the local government commission can release the powers to the municipalities. It was in the prior administration, but under this administration, they have collected that back. And so there's so much difficulties within our organizations right now, because, for example, we've had a young man attempt to stab another young man, and the following day they're all still on the plant. And so we're saying, what is this? Because now the town clerk will say to us, she really can't tell him anything because she has to wait for a response from the local government commission. If the persons had come back to work with the same issue, the same tension, then we could have had a murder on our hands. So I think what's happening is that the local government commission is far away from what's happening within the local government organs. It could be for several reasons. Majority of the persons sitting on that commission has no knowledge of how local government functions. And so their decisions are not timely and are not made with much of the knowledge. And they need to come, they need to meet, they need to speak. Section 13 of that act, the act for the commission, speaks to the fact that they should work in tandem with the municipalities, and recommendations should come from the municipalities first before they make decisions. And they have removed that, and they've ignored that totally. And we're having serious problems within our municipalities because of that.
Do you think it would be a brilliant idea if the local government commission was made up of former mayors?
I believe that it's not just former mayors, but persons trained in local government management also. A lot of times, and I found this is happening for us too as local leaders, we select people and put people in places, but the people have no training in the place they sit. And so I believe past mayors, past IMC chairs, and even past town clerks and persons who've worked in the municipality. And those people should not be, at this point, about 80% of the people sitting represents whichever government is sitting. And I believe that their selection process should go through the municipalities and the RDCs to which they govern, and allow us the opportunity to present to government who are the persons that would sit there. So again, you know, there's not too much political decisions being made, but one to benefit the people.
Interesting. Mayors, we'll take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will continue this discussion.
Travelspan has some very cheap fares for July and August to and from Guyana. Seats are limited, but call Travelspan today for these discounted low fares in July and August. In New York, call 718-845-0437. That's 718-845-0437. In Georgetown, call 227-1701. That's 227-1701. And in Berbice, call 337-4287. That's 337-4287. For discounted airfares to and from Guyana, call Travelspan today.
Are you missing homemade food, snacks, drinks, roti and curries, or have a busy schedule? Then get your favorite curries and roti delivered directly to your home with all from one supplier. Come order your duck, goat, or chicken, fully cooked and ready to eat with dal puri or bus up shut. We also now have chicken tikka masala or lamb vindaloo available with regular naan or garlic naan. Don't forget to add your solo, icy, coconut water, or Nestle drinks to these delicious meals. Select your choice, and load your box and let allfromonesupplier.com deliver directly to your home. All From One Supplier has you covered for all your food. Plus if you need pepper sauce, curry powders, fish, meat, ghee, and so much more. We also have tasty pastries like pine tarts, cheese rolls, currants rolls, coconut rolls and so much more. Sales are ongoing every week, and your first order is 10% off once you apply the coupon code, Globespan24x7. Log on to allfromonesupplier.com today and purchase. Allfromonesupplier.com is your one-stop shop for all West Indian items, and remember it's free shipping to all US states.
Oman! Hey, Oman!
Oi!
Come that girl, I feel like I see Raymond Ram Narine across the road somewhere there.
Raymond who?
Raymond Ram Narine, they sing a girl Ram Narine, how you pretend so?
The 2022 Travelspan Curry Duck Curry Cooking Competition is in Cancun on July 28th to August 1st. Who is going? The duck and the curry going for sure, plus Raymond Ramnarine, Terry G, young upcoming dancer and singer Ariana, Randy Reckless and the Reckless Tassa Group. The competition for the best tasting duck is in Cancun for 2022. Friends and families, make this a reunion. Flights available from New York, Florida, Atlanta, Texas, Trinidad, Guyana, Canada, or any U.S. states. For more info call Travelspan at 212-243-0865. In Canada call 647-557-6200. In Trinidad call Amerals at 645-1604. And in Guyana 227-1701 or visit us at travelspan.com.
Folks, the Nest Restaurant is the place to dine for Guyanese and Caribbean dishes. It is the best restaurant in Queens, the staff is courteous, and Dave the owner is always there to welcome you. So for a memorable dining experience, visit the Nest Restaurant located at 12717 101 Avenue, South Richmond Hill. Go and make a reservation today, or takeout, call 718-847-4035.
Welcome back to our program here on Globespan 24/7 as we speak of municipal politics, high unemployment, and the sluggish growth in Region 4 and 10. Mayor of Georgetown, Mayor of Linden, do you think that the PEP government as is now is governing the country for all the people, or are they, in your opinion, they have a racial bias in their administration?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, let me explain. The one initiative that His Excellency put forward, it is something I only researched recently. The one Guyana initiative was birthed from the People's National Congress in 2001 to 2006. One Guyana. But at this present moment, One Guyana initiative is not for all Guyanese. Region 2, Region 5, Region 6, those are the areas, and Region 3, those are the areas the government focused on. Within the city of Georgetown, there was no flood relief. COVID cash grant, only some wards or section of Georgetown received COVID cash grants. Fishermen, cash grant, I didn't hear anything for Georgetown. So at this point of time, I will call on government to give the vendors a cash grant in the city. There are a lot of single mothers and others out there who fend in for their life and their daily meals. So a cash grant should be given to the vendors. Now, why resources not coming to the city of Georgetown? And that is my question to government many times. We need to focus on Georgetown as well. We cannot focus only on the Region 5 and Region 2 and Region 6, the strongholders of the PPP. We have to focus to modernize this city which I heard the president said that it will be like Dubai. When we're going to start it, when we will commence it. I think the time is now, and we have to work together. And again, I will call on government. Let us work together to build the city of Georgetown, to build our people, to empower our people in different ways. Not only offering them monies, that would only last for a short time, but let us empower them so the same money we give to them can multiply for them, their household.
Yeah, but the question is, do you think that the government their policy is more supportive of the Indians than all Guyanese? What is your view on that?
To their base.
Mayor Arrindell?
Sorry. So I'll start by saying that our actions speak louder than words. That's the first thing I'll say. We have seen the government's interest in East Indian communities, and we have felt the lack of interest, especially in Linden. So for us, it feels as though there is a racial bias. What I have not done, but I've started, but it's not completed, is to find out from other mayors what's happening in their towns and their region, because I'd like to have a holistic view. And that's why I'm begging you guys again, bring all mayors on board so people can hear what is the government doing in region 2, 5, 6, and 3 that they're not doing in region 10, region 4, region 8, and region 7. And then we'll be able to say, it looks as though this is happening. So all I can say at this point, this is how it looks. While the government words of One Guyana is saying, their action is not doing. And so I'll expect, for me, as Mayor Ubraj says, any government who sits in the power of our country, their responsibility is to take care of the entire nation, regardless of who elects them. And so it's time they stop talking and start showing that their interest is also in our African communities.
Well, Mr. Mayor Arrindell, let's get back to exactly what you just said. You have 130 staff at Linden. How many of those are of African origin?
Majority are. Again, keep in mind, we are predominantly an African community. So
you said you have about 15% of Indians live there and mixed race.
But keep in mind, that's a population that recently started growing in Linden. It was never a very large population.
So it's about 95% of the staff of the municipality are African?
I would say so.
Mayor of Georgetown, you have about 600 staff. What percentage of your staff are African descent?
Majority.
Like how much?
I was not able to give you a percentage, but majority of my staff are African descent.
About 90% as well?
I would say 90%. I do have Indians within the mayor and city council.
And I'm saying this because, you know, we see Congressman Jeffries, as you guys would have noticed, he talked about, you know, accusing the government of being practicing racial discrimination and so on. And I'm looking at even the municipalities, and I'm not saying what is right or what is wrong. Just observation is that, you know, like Linden, you have 130 staff, most of them of African Guyanese. That's fine. Linden and Georgetown, you have 600 staff, most of it of African Guyanese, even though African Guyanese make up 30% of the population. And then I look at some, but I know, Mayor, I'm coming back 1 second. I look at the statistics that was given to me. Our armed forces, 90% of African origin. The police force, 80% of African origin. The prison service, 90% of African origin. The public service, 85% of African origin. Our nurses, 65%. Teachers, 65%. Government ministers, 28% are African Guyanese. 25% of the CEOs and board members are African Guyanese. 7% of the state media personnel are African Guyanese. 80% of the staff at the UG and the lecturers are African Guyanese. So I'm saying, you know, we keep talking about this, and I'm not bashing anybody here. I'm just saying what the facts are. And I'm saying we want a one Guyana, and we seems to bring in everything has to do with race, and nothing has to do with one's ability to get the job done. I mean, the last government, we had 17 prominent secretaries, 16 of whom are of African origin. Was that racial bias? We had a commissioner of police, 4 deputy, all African Guyanese. Was that racial bias? So when we talk about racial, you know, the government, I mean, every one of us have within us some racial preference, you know, so your own race, and that's okay. Nothing is wrong with that. But when we take public office, I'm saying we got to put that aside. And as Mayor Arrindell said, when you take office, you govern for everyone, and race should not be a factor. Yet, in everything in Guyana, the first thing come to mind, oh, this is a racial government, or that is a racial government. Everything come race first. Why we keep doing that?
I want to kind of bring a little back to this. One, when you mention all of the employment across Guyana by race, employments should be based by one's qualifications and one's ability to manage. So I would assume every person within these positions, regardless of their race, were hired based on their ability. At the Mayor and Town Council, majority of people we met were there. When we got there, we met them there. And there is never a racial bias in terms of who comes. I do not know, however, because this hiring no longer is under our jurisdiction, what happens at the local government commission in terms of hiring. But I don't think between the mayor and I that our conversation had to do specifically with employment. It has to do with the release of the resources that the government has and how they are dividing those resources across the regions of the country. And sitting politically, we have seen that those resources have not been equally divided. And again, I agree with you. The resources can never be equally divided because when you do your urban planning and your management, you're going to decide how much goes where to where based on the need of that community. And maybe the government has a reason why region 2 and 5 and 6 are getting so much because they maybe have more they maybe have more needs. But you need to make those needs clear because you serve a country. So we're not worrying whether it's ethnic or what, because you said we're placing it here because this is where we need the development to be. So on our end, it's just what we see that we make reference of. And the government is in a power to say to us, so we've done this, this, and this here based on the needs we have seen because this is what's happening. And I think that's where the problem is. There's no information sharing. And so everybody's left to their own thought patterns of what they think is happening. Let's share information. Let's be open and transparent and say this is what's happening here, here, and here. And that's why we're pooling those resources there. And then we're all calm. Because for me, and I sure, Mayor, we love every Guyanese in every region in this entire country. And we want all to develop on a balanced scale. And that's what we're looking for, but we're not seeing.
Yeah, well said. And that's what I guess our problem. The first thing come to us is that, oh, it's race. I think we should really come away from that. Yes, Mayor Ubraj, sorry about
that. I share the same sentiment with Mayor Arrindell, but it's like the resources. For example, the Georgetown Mayor City Council ONIS since 1995. While Anna Regina, when the president took office and he went to Anna Regina Town Council, He wrote off the NIS for Anna Regina Town Council. Why he couldn't do the same for the Georgetown municipality? In that racism? In that racism. Because the town council is governed by a PPP mayor, while the Georgetown municipality is governed by a PNC mayor. That is racism. Distribute the resources of this country equally.
What's the way forward, Mayor? Both of you are muted.
The way forward, Mr. Sugrim, is that we need to have resources distributed to the 10 municipalities equally. The RDC, same thing. We need to work with the government of the day, and the government need to work with us as elected officials so that we can able to better serve and equip the people out there.
But Mayor Ubraj, sorry, Mayor Arrindell, but Mayor Ubraj, you met with the Prime Minister recently, and you had a discussion. You said you met with the President in 2021, and you had a discussion with him. But the last time the President had a cleanup campaign, you were absent. How is that going to work together when we are taking sides?
I'm happy that you raised that question, Mr. Sugrim. If you're dealing with the city of Georgetown, don't you think at your round table discussion to have a national cleanup campaign within the city of Georgetown, don't you think the mayor of the city is necessary to sit on that round table and be invited for a discussion as well? While I was issuing a press release at the PNC headquarters, a call came to me, said that, look, we invite you for tomorrow morning to come to do the cleanup. That is disrespectful to the city council. You need to have roundtable discussion and let us know what is happening, because let me tell you something. All of the cleanup happened, but you go back to those areas now, it's filthy again. What system, what strategy, what mechanism you put in place to keep those areas clean and tidy? That is what I'm speaking of. The mayor city council will able to keep it in whatever equipment and machinery we have. We'll able to tell the government, well, listen, if these areas clean up and tidy up, we will able to do 50% of the work to maintain it, and the next 50% we will depend on the local government ministry to assist us to upkeep it. That is what I'm speaking of. I didn't want to boycott the cleanup, but principle must be principle. When we want to work and when we call for one Guyana initiative, we must abide with the rules, regulations, and the laws of our country. Can't expect, and I know for a fact they have a next cleanup coming up again this month. I'm still awaiting on an invitation or to be invited for that roundtable discussion to see what is happening. And the same very area you're going to clean up again. What is the mechanism? What is the system you're putting in place to upkeep these areas? That is my problem. Continue to use taxpayer money to just having a cleanup for a Photoshop? No. We need equipment. We need machinery. We need manpower to upkeep these areas. We need the laws to sign off that sit on the minister's desk for the past 8 months. The littering bylaws that passed at the level of the city council, forwarded to the Minister of Local Government for his perusal and signature to implement in the city of Georgetown. 8 months already passed. The bylaws did not sign off. Those are things we need to empower the municipality of.
Yeah, Mayor Arrindell, go on.
Well, I forgot the question, actually.
I know. Sorry about that, Mayor Arrindell, because we are talking about, the collaboration, but there's so much distrust between central government and local authorities. And as Mayor Ubraj was mentioning, maybe those municipally controlled by the PNC, their mistrust between their central government, being the PEP, and the municipality. And I think that continue, how can you shun the mayor of Georgetown for a cleanup campaign he should be an integral part of that planning. And if the government did what Mayor is saying, that is absolutely an incorrect way to do it. And if they're going to do it again for the second time, then we're not learning from our mistakes. We might say, okay, that was an error then, but what are we doing now? So, and that's how do we get central government and the local authority working together? The thing is, each one is fighting each other and the people are suffering. That's the bottom line.
Well, I want to say that, and I want to make it from my end the correction. I don't think local government organs are fighting the central government. Look, I grew up in, old. So I knew about respect to elders and respect to authority. And I think we've given that respect, but we have received none in return. As we speak right now, the government under this administration would have shut down the CIIP program that was managed through the council to clean and clear our streets. And then they started back those programs only in East Indian communities within the township. When we reached out to them, we had some issues. I am here and I'm hearing that the project has started again while I'm on leave. And that project that has started has nothing to do with the municipality anymore. They're being managed, I'm assuming, by the RDC. And you wake up in the morning and there's garbage bags along the road. Who's moving it? Who's clearing it? Look, for me, we don't want the fame as local government organs. Our role is to serve the people. Our role is to present to central government the best way to manage whatever they'd like to do. If they like to manage it on their own, fine, because the people of our town will benefit. But they've got to come to the table and sit down. Our local government minister has got to call all mayors together. Let us sit down and talk about how best will we clean and clear our towns. How best will we manage? Look, there's a 1,000-job project in Linden and 20 people turn up to the office. Who vetted them? Where they're going? What's their qualifications? But they're there to work on a project at the council that we were not involved in the conversation of who will we choose and what best is needed. I don't disagree. The government has brought out some great programs in the time they've been there. But having a great program but poor management doesn't fix the problem. Because as Mayor said, it's not about the cameras. It's about what happens when the camera is off. How effective are we? Are we maintaining what's happening? Because Linden is back to square one. And that's where the problem is. So it's more of saying to this government, so you are there now, let's sit down. And we're not too late to sit down. Let all of us sit down and let's listen to each other and let's make decisions that will best suit everybody across Guyana.
Dr. Rose?
This question is for both of you, mayors. Based on what you all are saying, and this is a summary, the government is providing more from mayors for PEP mayors and PEP districts than PNC mayors and PNC districts. Has this been told to the government in an explicit way that is unfair by any one of you?
Well, one point, I don't know if they're providing anything special to the mayor, so I wouldn't make that conclusion. And more of the issue here is a regional issue. I think what we've seen in the provision has been to the regions, not specifically to the towns. And as I've said, I have not, in the towns that I've spoken to, which basically has been the APNU AFC strongholds, our contributions have been the same by government. I think it's time we as mayors reach out to the others, then we'll be able to give a conclusion like you've just given, that maybe other mayors are receiving other things that we're not. But I can't say that is happening because I don't have the proof on hand. But regionally, maybe you could call the regional chairmans on to have these discussions. Maybe regionally, they're feeling that impact.
Mayor Narine? Mayor Narine? Something is wrong. Okay. Now, Mayor Arrindell, I want to ask you this question. What would you like to see, or how would you like to see Linden develop? Oh, Mayor Narine, just not Mayor Narine, Mayor Arrindell. Your mic, you're off.
Sorry. I do believe that Linden's development is inevitable, but I believe that Linden's development needs training. And so while there's the road coming the bridge coming, which will bring new ideas and new businesses to Linden. The residents of Linden have got to come into the know of how we'll manage that business. And so what I foresee is a lot of development, especially in tourism and infrastructure, in businesses such as hotels and so forth. But we need to start putting on ground, we need to start education in terms of business management within the township so that we can really utilize what's coming our way.
Mayor Narine, I was saying to Mayor Arrindell that somewhere you all felt that the government is providing more for PEP mayors than PNC mayors. Has this been told to the government explicitly?
Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Dr. Rose.
I'm hearing
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Yes. This had discussed many times with the government and the Minister of Local Government that we in need of more support from central government. The then government, we had several workshops and dialogue between mayors and government on many occasions. This government is yet to hold such a conference, the Mayor's Conference, which I believe will impact mayors throughout this country, will give central government more in depth what the municipalities in need of, how we can able to work together, moving forward together to better the life of the people of the town or the city that we serve. So it is very necessary. And I agree with the mayor of Linden. The government, where you must give compliments. And I does that as well. City Hall building, I compliment the government. The drainage with the coca and the sluice, we're receiving help from NDIA. Since in the then government, that program or that help is there still. We're able to work around certain areas within the city of Georgetown in terms of infrastructure with the roads. I said to the Minister of Public Works, look, you owe me some taxes, which is over 300 million Guyana dollars. Help me do some of our streets. And we can able to come to a settlement with those taxes. Some of those things are happening, but we need more interaction with central government so that we can able to better deliver. The legislators of this country need to put legislation in place so the municipalities can able to enforce and better equip ourselves to serve out there.
Here's a question for both of you. First, you, Mayor Arrindell. Are the people of Linden better off today in the first 2 years of this government than in Abnu's 5 years or 4 years?
I cannot give a concrete answer on that. I have not seen significant improvement. I've seen interjections that do not show continuity nor stability. I really can't give a firm answer on that.
Mr. Narine, Mayor Narine?
Well, I will say that Georgetown was in a better state in the coalition than now. Garbage issue is a major something within the city of Georgetown. The drainage, same thing. And I will tell you why. In 2019, we was able to accomplish 2 garbage trucks, a few I think it's 3 tractors and trailers. The subvention for 2019 was closely to 400 million. We were able to equip the city council with more equipment, machinery, so that we can able to do our work. Since the government took office, we're not getting those kind of help. The then government, the coalition government, we could have met with the Minister of Local Government at any time. If there's a problem that we faced, they will see to help the city of Georgetown, because this is the hub for the entire nation. We must not get away from that. That kind of relationship is not there between the local government ministry and the municipalities, the municipality of Georgetown, sorry. So there will be conflicts. And again, we are not fighting central government. We don't want to rebut central government. We don't want any kind of infraction with central government. We want to only work with central government. Consultation is necessary for any development, any project within the town or the city.
Look, corruption is prevalent in Guyana. And throughout the country, it is the same thing. Go from one end to the next end, people talking about corruption. On a scale of 1 to 10, Mayor Narine, how corrupt is the city of Georgetown?
I wouldn't say the city of Georgetown corrupt. Is it type of management and policy we have and the local government commission has. For example, our engineer department is very incompetent. The council had passed a motion, a no confidence motion, on the city engineer. 6 months already passed. The local government commission yet to deal with that motion. So we have incompetent officers in these offices where they're not able to function and to mandate the policies that the council formulate to carry out to the citizens of Georgetown. For example, the city of Georgetown voted on a pile driving policy a year ago. We as councillors and the mayor and deputy mayor, we have to follow that policy. Where we see a construction and pile driving is happening there, we have to inform the city engineer department, then they will go and check on it. That is not our duty. Our duty is formulate the policies and officers to implement those policies. Those are the issue we have at the level of the municipalities. Incompetent officers.
So,
not the local government commission.
So you're not going to give it you're not going to give a rating of 1 to 10 whether the city is corrupt or not.
I wouldn't say corrupt. I wouldn't say corrupt. Corruption is something that sometimes you don't know of. And I would not make any comment on corruption. I can say for the mayor of Georgetown, Ubraj and Narine, I'm not corrupt. Any auditor or any investigation can launch on me. It will be there for the public to see.
What about your administration?
Well, I make mention of that. The administration, we do have policies, issues, and incompetent officers in some of the office that they hold, which the council make recommendation already to the local government commission.
Okay, a quick question for you again, Mr. Narine, Mayor Narine. I've seen where the First Lady is doing a lot of projects in the city, which is good. She's improving the city environment and so forth. But has there been any consultation with the city of Georgetown?
None consultation.
Okay. Mayor Arrindell, same question to you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how corrupt is Linden, your administration?
On the scale, the administration of the council?
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot give a scale. I think what we try to do, look, we have exactly what we have. We have people placed there that are politically aligned and that are doing things behind our backs. And so I'll say there is some level of corruption. I cannot give the length of, but what I know is that as the political arm, what we have done is to ensure that we tie down and tighten the systems that were there. As you say, there's always going to be corruption. You just have to create the policies and the systems and of course enforce those systems to ensure that persons are doing what they should do. So I know lately we've had an effective system in terms of our buildings, in terms of our management, in terms of getting our information out there. So I can't give you level of corruption, but what I can say, like Mayor Ubraj, there is a lot of incompetence in the administration, and some of the things that are happening may be because people don't know. So we just need to fix that on the policy level end, and local government commission needs to get on board with the council and help us fix the issues.
Okay, another question for you. Same thing, on a scale of 1 to 10 again. How effective is the government managing the affairs of the municipalities?
The government is not managing the affairs of the municipalities. It's 0 for me.
0 for you?
It's just my personal view. It's 0 for me. I just feel that they have not interacted with the municipalities, and so they really don't know what we're facing and what we're going through. And while they're making decisions, they may be making those decisions with lack of knowledge of what is happening on the ground. And that's why you need those collaborations. Too much things are happening in the town where the mayor is not aware of, but is expected to attend or expected to participate, or maybe just not expected to do anything at all. And sometimes it doesn't benefit. So it's a 0 for me. We need more participation from central government. We need more collaboration and more conversations.
Folks, you're listening to Globespan 24/7, the only fair and balanced network you're listening to right now. Mayor Narine, same question. Is Mayor Narine there? Mayor Narine? He's gone.
Yeah, Mayor is there. Go on.
Okay. Mayor Narine is there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
On a scale of 1 to 10, the same question. How effective is the government managing the affairs of the city of Georgetown?
Managing the affairs of the Georgetown city.
Yeah.
The government don't actually manage affairs. The council manages those affairs, policy making and so on. But in terms of development, like, we are not being consulted. We don't be a part of anything. Sometimes you will get an invitation to attend, which sometimes you attend. Okay,
let me rephrase the question. How effective is collaboration between the government and the city of Georgetown on a scale of 1 to 10?
I will say 4.
4, okay. And why?
We need more consultation. We need to interact more, and we need to go on the roundtable, have more roundtable discussion when it comes to collaboration and development within the city of Georgetown.
Okay, Charles, over to you.
Mayor, I know you meant we talked about it last time. When was the last time the books of City Hall was audited? Georgetown.
The books of City Hall I think it's 2 audits already finished with the current government, the current minister of local government.
And yet, for which year?
I think it's 2020 and 2020. 2021 will, I think, will come in soon.
Mayor of Linden?
I think now I'm rethinking my question, Dr. Rose. I do think there's some.
There's what?
I'm rethinking my answer, but we are now in the process of being audited, because what we have found is that there's been large sums declined by millions from our toll booths. So we have invited the commission to audit. So at this point, they should be auditing the council.
And I know Dr. Rose talked about corruption, but bribery. How widespread is bribery in the city of Linden?
That's a tough question. I'm going to base it on what we know. Our biggest form of bribery seems to be happening at our toll booths. We've had decline in almost consistently over the past 3 years for at least about $34 million every year. So I think that's our greatest area. I'll give that a 5 maybe. That's why we've called in the auditors to see what is happening. And of course, we're working on improving the system of management for where our finances are.
Has Mayor Arrindell ever taken bribery?
Mayor
taken a bribe?
Arrindell? No.
Mayor Ubraj? Has Mayor Ubraj ever taken a bribe in public office?
No, sir.
We don't do these things. Small scale leadership.
No bribery, but has members of your team taken bribe?
I can't comment on that. I don't know of such, sir.
My knowledge, no.
The problem, I think, in Guyana is that and in my view, and again, I might be wrong, but I think we seem to make statements a lot of time. Like I just asked you guys, did you take bribe? And the first thing that comes to people's mind, oh, all them people taking bribe. They're all taking bribe. Just with a broad brush. Look, we looked the other day of the interview on Vice with the vice president and this undercover people. I mean, accusing the vice president of taking bribe. Now, we don't know. We are not there. But now everybody painting a brush that, oh, the vice president took bribe. I mean, that's a problem we have in Guyana. We keep make definitive statement that we don't know nothing about. Now, whether the vice president or the president or the prime minister or the minister or whoever take bribe, there is no evidence for us to prove that. That's why in the court of law now, there's a lot of people going before the court to prove what they say, because you cannot prove things like that. And I'm saying that unless our people, and I'm just so glad Mayor Ubraj and Mayor Arrindell, you have both identified that you're not that kind of person who take bribe. You want to see your municipality work and work for the interests of the people. And I wish that our Guyanese who have taken position of authority can put aside this lure for money. Money is there. You're always earn money, but at least put the people first. And I'm hoping that, and I'm praying that the leadership that the two of you are showing, if that can permeate our environment, I think we'll have a far better country where we work in the interest of the people first, and then whatever benefit come afterwards, you will get. But and as Dr. Rose rightly said, you need to be fully paid. The Mayor of London get Dr. Rose know the number, whatever the number is. But Mayor Ubraj and Mayor Arrindell, do you guys have to report to Congress Place?
Report to Congress Place?
No, that there, Mrs. Sugrim, I can speak on my behalf. I don't report to Congress Place, and I don't take no directive from Congress Place. I work independently. I work according to the laws, and I work with my councillors.
Mayor Arrindell?
I can say ditto to that. I don't think we've ever had that conversation. I think our party understands our loyalty to our people, and we've never had to do that.
And again, this is off the cuff. Do you think the PP mayors take direction from Freedom House?
Can't be off the cuff on here.
Well, it can't be off the cuff because many times, if we do reach up as mayors, they will say they can't go to that function. Instruction will come to them. So that alone is sometimes clarify they have to work with instructions. That is when we were in government, the coalition were in government, when we do reach up at forums.
I think this is why we need to remove local government from politics from local government. You'll always feel some loyalty, and you have to admit that. You'll always feel some loyalty to the party that you sit on. And while we've been very free under the APNU AFC, we've had a lot of leverage. We're not pressured. I do feel sometimes that those PPP mayors are being pressured. But again, that's just my thought from seeing. I'd love to have them in a space where they can really say how they feel and what they're able to do, and if they have the freedom to do it. But we must be able to remove those politics. It will give people the opportunity to be themselves and to serve well.
And I know we're running out of time, but Mayor, quickly, if you don't mind, Mayor of Linden, is there one thing that the PP did for Linden that was not done before in this administration?
See, the problem, I really don't know what PPPs be doing. They don't tell me.
You're not part of that. Mayor Georgetown, is there anything the PP did in this on a President Ali that was not done before for the city of Georgetown?
Yes, restore City Hall with all those letters I had written to him.
Okay, that's a great thing. City Hall is a great thing. What one? Yeah, go on, Mayor.
I think one of the things I see happening now, and I don't necessarily agree with it in totality, I have my issues, but I think the option of they have started 8,000 jobs where they've taken young people who are just out of school and they've given them a chance to work in organizations and businesses, and they're paying them hopefully with the intention that those persons will learn about business administration or wherever they are, and they're able to study and then move forward. I think that's the only thing I'm very well afraid with at this point.
And I think, Mayor, if I can recall correctly, they started back the call center at Linden. That is back in track now.
The call center is back in track. The well, we have the road that's now commissioned, and hopefully the completion of our Centennial track. So they're continuing some of the projects started before, and I think I say kudos to that, because I found the governments go in and dismantle what was done before and just drop it, but they have taken up what the previous administration had done, and they're continuing to bring those to completion. So there is some work being done on the ground.
I know we got 2 minutes more. Mayor Ubraj, you want anything in closing?
No, before close, John.
Okay, Dr. Rose, go on.
One thing, Mayor, I'm in Georgetown, and Mayor Narine, when one talks about development, sometimes I am puzzled and I'm confused. If you cannot respect the dead at the cemetery you all have in Georgetown there, you pass there, bush, you can't see no tombs, bushes all over, then where is the development? Where is it going to start?
Dr. Rose, I did send a proposal. City Council don't have money to clear the cemetery. Let me make that very clear.
But is that a cemetery or that's a forest?
I will say both. A letter was sent to His Excellency in January 2022 with a proposal. And I recently shared the proposal on his worship page. It is public on the Mayor City Council website. And from that proposal, and this is racism again, where the PVP extract the Enmore martyrs, only the Enmore martyrs. We develop the roads and the Enmore martyrs only. Because of what? A historic site. Because they serve this country and they had given their life. What about the ordinary Guyanese and citizens? Let us join hands with central government and private sector. If the government is so much of cleaning the city, let us put forward a project. Let us clean the cemetery as a national project. Restore the cemetery so that Guyanese people can be able to visit their loved ones there.
Frankly speaking, I don't know where the cemetery is because when I'm passing there.
Right. Okay, thank you guys.
Not seeing.
All right, Dr. Rose, all right. Mayor Arrindell, anything in closing?
Well, it's always a privilege to be here, but I really want to ask you, because this has been an open forum, and I think it's time for us to bring all the mayors together for a discussion, and not just Mayor Ubraj and I. But
we'll take your recommendation, yes, definitely.
And let's talk about what's happening across Guyana and how we can all work together to improve. And I think it's important for us to know
let us have a PPP mayor and a PNC mayor. Let us see the development and what they earn and what we earn.
No, I think Mayor Arrindell is better, Mayor Ubraj. Let's have all the mayors on the program. That would be great.
Right. But I think it's important that as municipalities, I know there's so much people expect from us, but that people understand our constraints, but also that we really try to open up and to reach out to public. Public-private partnership is definitely going to be the thing that propels municipalities. As you're saying, central government will always just give us capital, finances for capital projects, and we definitely are going to be working on making finances for other things that we need to satisfy our municipalities.
And to generate revenue from other sources as well. Mayor Ubraj, anything else? Closing?
Thank you very much, Mr. Rose, Mrs. Sugrim and Dr. Rose for having me on your program. It's a pleasure being here this evening, and I do look forward for more program like this. I thank you, and God bless Guyana, God bless the Guyanese people and all the viewers. Thank you.
And happy Father's Day to you, Mayor Ubraj.
Thank you very much. Same, many returns to you, sir.
All right, Dr. Rose, anything in closing?
Yes, I am calling again for the retirement age to be increased from 55 to 62, like what's happening in most of the countries in the Caribbean. I'm also calling for increased wages for public servants, teachers, police officers, nurses, to $150,000 at least starting salary per month.
And mayors, don't forget the mayors.
Yes, we're right here.
And I'm calling also for the mayors to be paid full-time. A full-time job requires a full-time pay, and that's how we're going to start development from the bottom up, not from the top down. And finally, I'm asking for improved internet services in Guyana. Every time you call someone, it always goes to reconnect and disconnect and so forth. And if we are talking about development, we have to get these small things out of the way to make sure that it starts with this. Mega projects are good, but the small things are just as important.
Thank you, Dr. Rose. Thank you, Mayor Ubraj. Thank you, Mayor Arrindell. And to all our viewers out there, we want to thank you, to Nohar and to Devin. God bless our great country of Guyana. Happy Father's Day to all our fathers.
And you're listening to the only fair and balanced network, Globespan 24/7.